Hello, and thank you so much for being part of Joy Asonye Live this beautiful evening. It's good to be back, especially to discuss trending political stories around Nigeria. And today we'll be talking about something that has elicited several reactions, mixed reactions really. The flag bearer rather of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, in the February 2023 elections has put forward a proposal for a 5-year single-term presidential tenure in Nigeria for each geopolitical zone. This is something a lot of people are addressing at the moment, and conversations are rife. Should Nigeria look that way? Would we have that continuity and sustainable development that we long for? Would greed seep into this seemingly beautiful concept? That's what we'll be discussing on the program today. And in the studio to do justice to this is Ambassador Musa Mohammed Tsoken. He's the President, APC Initiative for Good Governance. He's also a political analyst. So good to have you join us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we'll just go for a very quick short break to return to get into the crux of the matter. Stay with us. Welcome back from that short break. I'll just address my guest right now. And Ambassador, what did you think? I mean, he's not the first person that Peter Obi is not the first person asking for a single term. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party had also asked for a 6-year single term. Or your governor or your state governor was also talking about a 5-year term some time ago. It seems like Nigerians are beginning to wake up to that. But what do you think, before we now get into the dynamic and peculiarity of Nigeria and how this can work?
Well, with due respect to their opinion, I want to say I want to counterclaim such opinion, or rather discontinuance with their submission, conception, or perception. To me, 5 years one time is not enough, considering the fact that in Nigeria we have our peculiar scenarios where even sometimes 4 years is not enough to implement some of the policies and programs that have been set up by the government of the day. Not to talk of one time 5 years will not be enough time to be able to implement policies, programs, and some philosophies of the government of the day. So to me, that 5 years of one time 5 years is not enough. We may be rather thinking of 5 years of 2 terms, just like other African countries, I believe, are practicing that.
Yeah, most African countries are actually practicing 5 years. I think Ghana and Nigeria are the ones that, top of my head, I can remember right now. But would you say 4 years it has been a problem? Because very often we see that it continues. Buhari stayed for 8 years, but for Jonathan that could not get the second term bid, Obasanjo stayed for 8 years. It's not really been a problem for successors. So do you think the 4 years has not been enough to accomplish some of those goals and blueprints that they come in with?
Actually, 4 years I think is okay, but considering the fact that election is something that have to do with involving, government expenditure and spending. So if you talk of one time of 5 years, it means after 5 years electing other people apart from the one set that have been elected will take the order of the day.
Right.
And that 5 years will not be substantial enough time for all these policies and programs of government to be fully implemented. But if we are thinking of 5 years or two terms, that one will be very
10
okay.
years should the person get re-elected.
Yeah. So, but after 5 years, if the electorate, or I mean, those that have been elected into various office didn't perform to expectation, they can be voted out.
Ambassador, does it concern you that often when a particular political actor or office has been occupied, the next person does not necessarily continue, no matter how noble and beautiful the project may be, the policies may be? We see that there's a problem with continuity. Does it concern you? Is that a problem in our democracy? Yes,
that is a very poor attitude. We have to revamp. Most of time, government talk of state of emergency in education, state of emergency in food security, state of emergency in that, state of emergency in this. But to me, I think what we should be thinking of is a kind of state of emergency in our attitude. That doesn't cost anything. If you are talking about a state of emergency on food security, it involves government investing, spending on that.
Funds, right.
But if we didn't revamp our attitude, all those policies and programs is not going to take full, effect. What is it wrong? We are talking about government.
Exactly.
And the government is supposed to be a continual process. We are advocates of good governance. So in that, even if there's a different party that is taking over from another party, there should be continuity.
Okay.
It's all about the country. What constituted every political party is the constitution, and the constitution is one. So whichever party that take over from the other party, they are all, subject to the instruction or the dictates of the constitution. So they have to go by it. But abandoning projects, programs or policies that is, being, inherited by other government, I think that is not a good idea. Unless otherwise, where that policy or programs is not for the, betterment of the citizenry, in that case, government can, of the day can take a, look at it and say, no, we have to, reconstruct, or revalidate this program so that it will go with the tune of the day. Okay. But in the situation where a project, program, or policy is going well for the masses' benefit, and just because another government take over, then they abandon it, it's waste of resources. That target will not be met. So there should be a kind of, continuity. Whichever party that take over,
they should
study the policies and programs. If it is for the benefits of the country, it's for the benefits of a common man, then it should continue, putting aside the differences in the political parties.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you just mentioned something about a change and orientation that Nigerians should start having. How do you think, as one that's initiative for good governance, how do you think we can champion this change in our morals, in our integrity, so that we put the people first in whatever we are doing in the political space?
One thing is that is very, very common and very factual is that me and you have to start it. We have to start by changing ourselves. We should change the narratives. If you know there are some things that you are doing that is not going to add value to your own personal life,
exactly,
and your immediate family, your immediate community, your local government, state, and the nation at general, you have to let it go. We have to revamp our attitude.
Right.
We have to change our way of behavior. That is why some of these government policies and programs is not been, actively been effective, because there is sabotage within the common man. We try to sabotage some of the, like if you go to some of these our roads, you will see right there in your doorstep there are potholes that is been there for more than 1, 2, 3 years, but you are waiting for government to come and, just even if it's to put sand or a kind of rock, to manage that potholes, to prevent accidents. We are waiting for government at all times. This government have to be a kind of a contribution that will be circulated within all, and sundry. We shouldn't be looking at government or governors or presidents or chairman and all that, councillors and what have you. So these are some of the issues. And to be honest with you, some of the people who are voting into power, they are just looking at themselves alone. Okay. They are self-centered. They are after self-aggrandizement. Let me take the case of some governors. Why are they saying no to this, local government autonomy? Why? Before you see a local government chairman will be executing projects, roads, everywhere. But now the governors are saying no. And you see the governors are underperforming.
Exactly.
I can applaud, the performance of people like the governor of Borno State, Professor Zulu. He is doing a lot in order to ensure that his people get the best in spite of the, insecurity that bedevil his state. But he's trying very much to have the masses at heart.
Ambassador, you've mentioned really important things, especially this last aspect you mentioned of local government autonomy. You've also talked about how citizens can be responsible and also contribute to governance. Yeah. However, do you think the Nigerian citizens are trusting this government enough, or governments basically, not just this administration, but trusting government enough to contribute? So is that another aspect we should also change? Because a Nigerian, an average Nigerian will say, I do not see what I am benefiting from government as I speak. I provide my electricity, the roads I have managed, the roads are bad, I'm managing myself. Security, I have to pay, outsource security. Every aspect of their lives, they seem not to have the presence of government at all. So in that regard, do you think it is that distrust that's bringing citizens not caring any longer?
You see, while we are talking about all these things, vandalization of government properties are going on.
You're right. That's
all over the country. And you see who are giving even information to these terrorists, these kidnappers, these people that are, causing havoc to the welfareism of the people. The political instability in the country sometimes arises because of our attitude. You understand?
Yes.
Like basically people that relate information that will lead to somewhere where all these, vampires, let me use that word for them, will come and attack a community, destroy the community. Some of these things are coming from us. So we have to revamp our attitude. Let's change our attitude towards positive or affirmative steps that is geared towards ensuring that everything good reaches the masses. If we do that, in one way or the other, we are going to have the system. But it's a situation where we are trying to sabotage all the effort of the government. Right. Sometimes you see senior citizens of the country being the cogs in the wheel of progress of the nation, the state, or the local government, just because of their personal aggrandizement or personal interest. That is very bad. And what are we going to gain by doing that? I think anything that will come to you of wealth, if you are patient and do the needful, it will come to you.
Exactly.
It's not that you must have to delve your hand in all these nefarious activities before you get rich.
Ambassador, do you think, hypothetically speaking, the constitutional review happens and this is considered 5-year single tenure? how do you envisage our elections, for instance, would be? Do you think it will be so badly contested, and with all the characterized vices that comes with it? Do you think it will be more seamless?
Me, I don't subscribe to that notion of one time 5 years.
I'm just saying hypothetically speaking.
Yes, that is what I'm saying. So to me, I'm looking at it from a different direction. That one time of 5 years is not enough for some of these political stakeholders that have been elected to various offices to be able to, fulfill their promises, considering the fact that some projects will not be able, cannot be able to be, implemented within a short period of time. So I'm not in support of that, and I'm looking at it from the, 2 times perspectives.
Okay, instead of one.
Yeah.
But won't 10 years be too much for one person sitting in government?
Well,
because we also have a lot of in cases where there's bad governance. This person has done 5 years and he's an incumbent. Chances are he will not lose elections, and he has another 5 years. Would that be too much?
When something is guided by law and it has been made to be constitutional, provisions, you cannot, try to override it again. You see, like I'll make an instance of a governor of Borno State who have adequately performed very excellence. So in his first tenure, if you say, let the government end at his first tenure, people will still be, yearning for him to come back. And the constitution is there and have not guaranteed is coming back again. So it will be a kind of frustration even to the people. So when somebody perform to expectation and his people still want him back, and the constitution have already been, stated that he will not go back for the second time, the people will be frustrated.
Exactly.
So and it's not common to get all these good people that are going to ma'am the affairs of the state.
But you still have not really addressed how the elections will be. Do you think political actors will not be as desperate, or will not show the kind of desperation they often show during elections?
Actually, that has been a kind of a custom of politicians. We actually, after our first tenure, we dream of coming back.
Of course.
It's not easy. Even people that somebody will even say, I'm just coming for one time.
Yes.
But when he comes,
you say, my people are asking for more. I can't say no to my people. And everybody will say, I thought you promised one term.
So you see, to be candid and to be honest, considering our culture, our, scenario, and our antecedents, one term of 5 years is not encouraging of Nigerian factor, or let me basically say Africa, because most of the African countries none is practicing such one time of either 4, 5, or even So if you didn't perform, your people are at liberty to vote you out. They have that electoral, power to vote you out if you didn't perform. But it will be very difficult in the situation where your performance is rated as the best and your people still want you, but you are prevented by the constitution never to come back. Your people will be frustrated. I've heard where some people are saying that let this governor, but let the people of Borno State hire us their own governor to come out.
I've heard that before. When you look at your reality and you see that your governor is not doing as much, and then another governor is really doing well, very often you just want to say, you know what, just lend us your governor.
We have to revive our way, our attitude. they govern and those they are governing.
Exactly.
We have to revive our way of life. Look at now, the local government staffs, they have their children, they have their family, their immediate family, and they are not in some state. They are not paying them their salary. It's very disheartening.
It is. It is.
People working very closely to the local community, and they are the closest people to the, to the people, and they have not been paid. Some 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and if that case still replicated even after retirement. Sometimes people that retire from the local government, they are not even looking at, they are not even talking about them. You see, it's very disheartening.
It is.
We have to revamp the system. Let us do something that will impact positively in the life of a common man. The closest government to the people is the local government.
It is.
And when the local government, some of these challenges we are facing is because we neglected the local government. If we give power to the local government chairman to execute projects, some of this is there. They are living in the community. They know the problems of their...
It's time to go for a break. Ambassador Tsoken will be back to discuss more, especially this local government autonomy you keep hammering on as the one thing to fix so that we see the development cascade. We'll be right back. This is still Joy Asonye Live. Stay with us. This is still Joy Asonye Live. Welcome back as we've been discussing the 5-year single tenure that conversations have been around after the Labour Party presidential candidate had mentioned or proposed for, and my guest has reiterated that a 5-year single tenure would not help Nigeria and the development we're looking for. However, the conversation got into local government autonomy as one of the bases that we should rather look into. And my question to you is, often the governors would justify the fact that some local governments are unable to generate as much revenue as the others, and if you let them have that autonomy, they might not be able to fix all they have to fix. We've heard state governors also say that there's a unified way of sending monies to them that brings about checks and balances, and it's only when you can control these monies that the local governments can work. They need to be checked. So are those legitimate reasons, in your opinion, as to why we will not enjoy this local government autonomy that everybody keeps talking about?
Well, I don't subscribe to such opinion, and I think such opinion are self-centered. We say we have one Nigeria. That's why the resources of Nigeria, wherever it's generated, if it's for the Nigerians, wherever these resources are being generated. If you go through the history, you will see that even where there are, let me say oil now, you see the resultant effect of what, led to the discovery and the production of such oil is rooted back to our agricultural system, where a lot of revenue is generated from one sector, and that is being invested in the economy of the country, and one thing led to another, and such generation of such revenue serve as a high wing that bring about all these changes, developments that we are in country, and that will not stop. It's my belief that we have substantial, natural resources that is yet untapped in this country. So, and again, some of these resources that we are thinking they are state of the art, time will come, they will, go obsolete, and other resources where we have not even, laid our hands on in some other local government that maybe we are not talking about them now, may come up. You understand? Some discoveries are still.
Yeah.
We have, substantial resources in this country, so that shouldn't be an issue. And basically, when we are talking about this local government autonomy, it's not about what the local government is generating, but what the federal government is sending, the allocation that is sending to states. So some governors, you will just, hijack these resources to their own personal. These are people that voted for you into power. And at the end of the day, you are just looking at yourself. And what concerns me much is this. All these resources, after embezzlement of all these resources, how many years are you going to live on this earth? You will leave the resources. Maybe you go and build a very mighty mansion. Even after your tenure as a governor, you cannot be able to take care of the houses. Some people go to the extent of purchasing houses abroad and investing where they cannot even lay their hands. It's very, very disheartening and it's very unfortunate.
Exactly.
Where do we keep our humanity? We don't have sense of humanity because these people voted us into power, and at the end of the day, the way to pay them back is to embezzle all the resources of the state through our personal aggrandizement.
Ambassador, we've also had situations where these local government chairmen are maybe given little that is established. However, in the little, we don't see much impact in what they are doing as well. So in that case, do we still blame the governor? I mean, you can fix your gutters. You should be able to fix gutters. You should be able to...
Let me talk about, apart from maybe, I don't know, I didn't delve, study much about the, what other states are doing. But like the Kaduna State Governor, the former Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, I think to some extent he was able to, give the local government a kind of, even if not fully, autonomy. I think whatsoever is released to the local government, if not 60, at least 50% will go to the local
amount. No.
Yeah. So for them to be able to do some little project that, will develop their local communities. So I think most of the problem we're experiencing in this country is the negligence of the local authority, the local government, and their what. This basically, if you are being elected as a member House of Reps or maybe House of Assembly even, sometimes if you leave your local community and go to the state headquarters and you base there. If you are elected as a House of Representative or Senator, you leave your local community, you are here in Abuja. But the local government chairman is there
at all time, because
all time, which is people and the ward, councillors and what have you. So it is my own conception or my perception or my belief that if this local government will be given autonomy, I believe much will be done in our local community to improve the standard of living of the masses of our people.
Okay. Elections, the general elections have just come and gone, and one of the things we like to talk about is how things should be better. But where do you think Nigerians are when it comes to citizen participation? We advocated for citizens to be part of the process. Ask questions as to where your governor stands when it comes to local government autonomy. Where do your state assembly, what do they believe? What are you promising me? Do you think citizens participated enough to ask these very important questions?
Well, on this they have limited power. Sometimes the
citizens have limited power.
Yes, what would they do?
I mean, when there were beautiful brides during campaigns, you people were going from one place to the other. Where questions not
that
asked
is always
to you.
the custom, but it's very unsabbatical. It's very unethical. What is happening after election?
But was those promises made? Did the office of the citizen demand anything? Because it's too late to cry now. When all I remember the former President Muhammad Buhari really wanted to achieve local government autonomy, but it wasn't gazetted by the state houses of assembly. So where are we? It's not a fear. The president cannot do it by himself. But what are we doing as citizens to nudge people who we are electing to say it behoves on you to ensure that we achieve this local government autonomy, for instance?
Well, I'm an advocate of good governance, and always I want to go with what is very much ethical at all times.
Right.
And I believe in diplomacy at all times. I don't call for violence. It's something that I objected, rejected, and denounced completely.
Of course.
The issue of violence and other things that is not going to, go by the dictates of the state and the constitution. So I always, my own saying is always, people should voice out. One good things about good governance is people coming together to articulate their problem, and after that is done, they should also be in a better way to mediate within themselves, call their the people they have elected into various offices, talk to them in the manner and sense that they should understand that one day, whichever office you're occupying today, you should look back.
Exactly.
There are other people that were there before you, and they are not there today.
But has that awareness really come upon people to know that, you know what, we're waiting for you in 4 years if you do not
Yeah.
Has it come? Because we've always had the problem of voter inducement, where no matter how you perform, as long as you can come and offer people some monies, they find themselves
So that is
voting
why I talk
for you.
about the total overhaul of our attitude. We have to revive our behavior.
Exactly.
If we are able to revive our behaviors and we play politics according to the rule of good governance and democracy, it's always speculated, and we are going to have the best. So, and one other thing that is, thank God for the government of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is looking across not only political parties alone, but if you have something good to offer, just like Wike, Governor Wike here in Abuja, you see within short period that he has been appointed as the Minister of FCT, you can see some of the potholes in the
roads are
city
being fixed.
They are being fixed
exactly.
within just few months.
So it has to do with leadership and body language.
You see, his antecedent, he is a workaholic governor. Even during his tenure, even the fact that he used to, talk and say something for the things, but he work seriously. So people like that, and this type of people, like I'm believing, though sometimes some of these things are not easy to say, but we have to, if we want to fix this country, we have to say them.
Exactly.
This is rather just like a call. We have people like Major Al-Mustafa. These are people who have the, expertise knowledge in security architecture of this country. And I'm believing that if this type of people in other sectors, like in APC initiative for good governance, we have a particular wing, we call it Professors Wings. Professors Wing,
right,
of APC initiative for good governance. So in such, we also have a wing that is that of the medical doctors.
Okay.
We have several
clusters,
of people that have the expertise knowledge
in different sectors.
To contribute to the development of this country.
That interests me. So
yeah.
How do you harness the potential and these enormous skills and talents that these people have? How do you harness it to translate to good governance, especially because it's your administration. This is the APC.
Well,
how are you able to get it to
for instance,
the powers
now,
that be?
For instance, now, the plans we have on ground, I'm not going to unveil it here.
Oh, I see.
But we are working seriously, and thank God. That is why I applaud this government of the day. And believing me, by the special grace of God, this government is going to perform to expectation, because we have very credible. Yes, what gives me the confidence is because of the people we have on board. I have just mentioned somebody in the like of, Wiki, who have actually performed as the governor of River State.
That's not what Nigerians are looking at. Nigerians are looking at the
that
fact
is
that
why
they cannot buy fuel, they cannot move around easily any longer. The bag of rice has become.
There is these are national sacrifices. We just have to. Very soon it will be over. We just have to be steadfast, and the increment in the price of fuel and other commodity is not only in Nigeria. If you go to other countries, they too cry of such. So it's not only in Nigeria, but you see, as I was saying, we have credible hands on ground in this government. People like His Excellency Senator Dr. George Akume, who is in the helms of affairs as the secretary to the the government of the federation, and people like Kwabio and other, the speaker and their deputies, with other clusters of ministers we have, that like the other minister of interior and so many others, the minister of health. These are people who have expertise, knowledge, they have experience, and they have good record of performance in their various places where they have been given, they have been assigned. So if we bring such people to combine with what we have already, we have them already on ground, is very true. I always, agree and believe on what people say about the hardship that people are encountering now. But the thing is that by the special grace of God, this hardship is going to be temporary.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be temporary in the sense that we actually know His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have this country at heart. Once he has the country at heart, that is the first thing that to be looking at. The nationalistic aspiration.
So you stand by the economic policies that he has over the couple of weeks churned out.
Yes, of course.
You in passing earlier mentioned the declaration of state of emergency on food insecurity, and not much is being done in that regard. Do you think Nigerians are confident that in this administration
that is one
at the
aspect
moment?
I also say, but the declaration on the food security shouldn't be limited to the performance of the government alone. All of us, all hands must be on deck to be able to actualize the Renew Hope agenda. It's when you and I agree that we want this government to work.
Right. That it actually does work.
Yeah. So if you look at the prices of commodity rising, sometimes it's as a result of our own, selfish interest. Some people will buy these commodities and, even hide them, waiting for the price to hike up, which is not ethical at all. We should be looking at humanity.
Exactly.
We should try to, moderate or bring down the prices of commodity so that the common man should be able to afford.
But wouldn't you say that they're also capturing all the many hitches they have to face? Transportation has increased. If I have to move this commodity from the farm to the market, the price is no longer what I used to pay. So naturally, somebody has to take the brunt of it, and often the consumers take the brunt of it. The transportation system has not been fixed.
Let me be honest with you. If you look at the pump price of petroleum and the people that are buying the petrol in the filling station, they are not, you know, people like me, I and you. If you have the money to go and purchase like 50 liters of petroleum,
right,
it means you have substantial amount of money in your disposal.
Okay, I'm trying to get where you're going with this.
Yeah, to be able to purchase all this, you know. But the common people that are suffering, they don't even have cars. You understand? Even those that have it have already packed them because they cannot be able to afford
having to pay for.
So what they are trying to do now is to minimize their expenses. Do that is place their purchasing power in order of priorities. What is most important for me to do is not about leisure at this particular moment, but what is happening in terms of other commodities is not because of the rise or the pump price. Some people deliberately use that issue of you know, increment in the fuel price to, you know, achieve their own personal selfish interest at the detriment
of hiking prices of commodities.
Yes, of course.
If that is true, then the government also has agencies to regulate prices of commodities
you know,
as well.
one other thing I always comment His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He have a very good listening ears.
Right. So has he been listening to you?
Yes, of course. We have said so many things. And
so it's safe to say that whatever we wake up every morning and face, you, Ambassador Tsoken, is part of our problem. Because if you are one of the mouth in the ears of the president, and we are where we are.
Well, I'm not personalizing myself as a person, but generally I'm just talking about general terms.
Right.
Well, Asiwaju is President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is somebody who have listening ears. When people cry, when people say something, he listens to what they said and consider it re-amend or try to make a kind of adjustment or do the needful. You understand? So by that, the issue of price regulation, I think people are saying a lot about it. The people want price to be regulated in Nigeria.
Of course.
And if it happens tomorrow, I will not be surprised.
Okay,
Yes.
that we will see the agency more serious as to ensuring that Nigerians are not shortchanged.
Yes, of course.
It will be wonderful to have that.
Yes,
but we have run out of time. We've discussed so much today about the national politics, especially delving into this conversation that is rife on social media, especially talking about the one a single term 5-year tenure that has caused that stir. But thank you for sharing your opinion on the matter and how Nigeria can improve.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me tonight.
It's always a pleasure to have you. We've been discussing with Ambassador Musa Mohammed Tsoken, President APC Initiative for Good Governance. This is where we round it up. My name is Joy Asonye. Keep a date with us tomorrow as we'll be right back.